Not long ago, the richest people in America thought that Donald Trump was an existential threat to democracy.
I think January 6th, he could have done a lot more to stop a riot. Many of his words, I think, inspired people, some of whom with malintent, to go in there and cause harm.
I think Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, who I think on either the extreme left and the extreme right, are both basically completely insane and unelectable.
I voted for him in this past election, November. Today, I'm sorry I did that.
But suddenly, they've changed their minds.
Meanwhile, hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman is leaning toward backing Donald Trump in the presidential election. This news follows the recent announcement by another Wall Street billionaire, Steven Schwartzman, that he would support Trump as a, quote, vote for change.
The reports are that Peltz hosted Trump and Elon Musk in his mansion in Florida just last month.
He did a pretty good job. He was a pretty good president.
Don't forget that he tried to overturn the election.
Hold on, this is the honest assessment. The guy did, for the things that he was supposed to do, a good job.
So what changed? Why are Bill Ackman and his posse of tech bros lining up behind a candidate they once viewed as insane and dangerous?
Now, what is Silicon Valley, and a couple of these guys I know were from Silicon Valley, what do they hope for in exchange for their support?
Sachs and his friends will give some platitudes about handing Trump millions for the good of our country.
Most of these people just really love America and they want to see America doing better.
But the real answer is much simpler: greed.
The industry wants to be able to innovate, and the Biden administration has been very hostile towards innovation. It's been extremely hostile towards the crypto industry. It's already trying to overregulate AI. Yeah, it's basically put the kibosh on any M&A.
Oh, and they're freaking terrified that their shady business dealings could finally catch up to them too.
If they can do this to a business person like Donald Trump, they could do it to anybody in New York.
Over the last couple of months, corporate execs have been on a spending spree for the former president, setting up fundraiser after fundraiser.
A lot of money is flowing in a state where ticket prices start at $5,000 and go into the hundreds of thousands.
After fundraiser.
$50,000 a ticket or $300,000 for VIP perks like a photo with the former president.
Events like these, where you have to make a USPS tracking number of a salary to even get in, are helping Trump close the financial gap between him and Biden. Some say he's raising record amounts thanks to the billionaire class.
And by the way, right after the announcement of this, more campaign funds were given to this campaign than any campaign they think in history. Almost $400 million. 400!
And it represents a big change from the way Trump used to raise money. In 2016, large contributors made up only 14% of Trump's total donations. Now, big donors make up nearly 70% of all donations to Trump. The fundraisers are hosted by billionaires like Elon Musk's buddy David Sachs, a former Hillary Clinton supporter, and Chamath Palihapitiya, who donated more than $250,000 to Biden in 2020.
Yeah, things are looking very positive for Trump right now. But in any event, we're hosting a fundraiser for him.
But it's not just Sachs and Palihapitiya. According to a Sludge and More Perfect Union analysis, more than 50 billionaires and billionaire family members have gotten behind Donald Trump's 2024 re-election. People like Harold Hamm, investment manager Nelson Peltz, and real estate mogul Robert Bigelow, venture capitalist Doug Leone, the founder of Oculus Palmer Luckey, the founder of Excel Communications Kenny Trout, Mavs owner Miriam Adelson, and of course Elon Musk are also throwing their support behind Trump. But we still haven't answered the $400 million question of why all these rich people are supporting him.
Clearly Trump is pushing some to switch sides. The question is why? It's not like big tech is suffering. In fact, pretty much every major tech stock is at or near all-time highs. The NASDAQ 100, all-time high. So if things are going so well, why are some out west turning away from Joe Biden?
Most important is what Trump is promising, and he's not being shy about how corrupt he is. At fundraiser after fundraiser, Trump is promising to make wealthy executives even richer in exchange for their support.
Last month, Donald Trump summoned a who's who of top lobbyists and executives from the oil and gas industry to the upscale La Quinta/bribery palace he calls Mar-a-Lago. The New York Times says, quote, Trump told the group that they should donate $1 billion to his presidential campaign because if elected, he would roll back environmental rules rules that he said hamper their industry.
That's not the only fundraiser, and it's been a pattern with Trump. He actually held a fundraiser at John Paulson, who's a hedge fund billionaire's house a few months ago, said, "We'll lower your taxes. Just make sure you give money to us."
You are all people that have a lot of money. I know 20 of you, and you're rich as hell. We're going to give you tax cuts.
And I will also stop Joe Biden's crusade to crush crypto. We're going to stop it.
All of these promises are exactly part of the reason why we're seeing corporate execs hop on the Trump train. And possibly the even bigger reason as to why these corporate execs are going to bat for Trump is because of the way the Biden administration has been going after them. Here's a Wall Street exec in his own words on why he's supporting Trump over Biden.
And then one other reason is obviously the regulatory environment, whether you're talking about the SEC or the FTC, that are much more aggressive, not only in the regulation of M&A, but also in crypto.
The Biden administration has launched an all-out war against the billionaire class to protect the interests of the working class for a change. Biden has put cops on the beat in every single corner of the administration, from the SEC.
The SEC is suing crypto trading platform Coinbase, saying it is operating illegally as it failed to register as an exchange.
Earlier this week, the SEC sued Binance, accusing the platform of inflating trading volumes, misleading investors, and secretly controlling customers' assets.
To the FCC,
the Federal Communications Commission is set to restore net neutrality. The vote passed 3-2 across party lines on Thursday.
To the DOT,
the Biden administration taking action this morning to protect airline consumers. New rules that mandate automatic refunds.
To the CFPB,
the CFPB is cracking down on late fees to a maximum of $8 from an average of $32.
To the DOJ,
we allege that Live Nation has illegally monopolized markets across the live concert industry in the United States for far too long. It is time to break it up.
To the IRS.
IRS Commissioner Danny Werfel telling me that millionaires and billionaires are evading more than $150 billion a year in taxes. So the IRS is using their billions from Congress to target the wealthy, large partnerships and companies.
To the DOL.
Change is coming for millions of gig workers who could qualify under a new Biden administration rule, making it harder for companies to classify workers as independent contractors instead of employees.
To the FTC, which is cracking down on big tech monopolies like Microsoft, OpenAI, Nvidia, Meta, Google, Apple, and Amazon.
They've also been steadily hiking the fees that small businesses have to pay to sell through Amazon. And so now some small businesses have to pay $1 out of every $2 to Amazon. It's basically a 50% monopoly tax.
Stopping junk fees that businesses use to arbitrarily jack up prices.
Junk fees cost Americans over $90 billion a year. Money that corporations are extracting from Americans just because they can.
And banning exploitative non-compete agreements for employees, which will increase wages by more than $400 billion.
Today, the FTC is announcing that we're finalizing a rule that would eliminate the vast majority of non-compete clauses in people's contracts.
All of these measures the Biden administration has taken against corporate America on behalf of the consumer have definitely lost them the support of these deep-pocketed donors. As the rich line up behind Trump, it's clear who he'd be beholden to if he wins, and it's not the people like you and me. So when Trump says things like this,
Joe Biden's radical left Democrat Party is a fascist movement that wants to throw you in jail.
And things like this,
if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone.
He's not talking to you, the hardworking American taxpayer. He's talking to people like the CEO of Pioneer Oil, Scott Sheffield, who was just caught by the FTC for trying to collude with OPEC to raise gas prices.
We saw Scott Sheffield try to coordinate with OPEC and say, hey, instead of us competing with you, why don't we all just agree to actually cut back production and keep prices high?
He's talking to people like billionaire grocery store and oil mogul John Catsimatidis, who illegally fired workers who went on strike.
If they can do this to a business person like Donald Trump, they could do it to anybody in New York.
People like Catsimatidis know that if Trump is elected, he can rest easy and continue making life miserable for everyone under him without consequences all he wants. So the main reason why oil execs, Silicon Valley, and corporate execs in general are going for Trump is because of how the Biden administration has been going after them. Catherine Wild, the self-described lone defender of the billionaires, summed it up perfectly. The threat to capitalism from the Democrats, she explained, using capitalism as a euphemism for taxing billionaires, is more concerning than the threat to democracy from Trump. That's the answer to the $400 million question. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to see more videos like this one. And if you have ideas for what stories you want More Perfect Union to uncover next, drop them in the comments.